Well, good morning, everyone. Today I'm joined by Rabbi Rachel Gartner, our Director for Jewish Life. And Rabbi Rachel, thank you for taking the time to be with us for this conversation at this very important time as you prepare for the High Holy Days. I had the pleasure of speaking with you back in the spring as part of our weekday conversation series as we were approaching the beginning of Passover. And during our conversation, you offered us your perspective on some of the themes of Passover in the context of COVID-19. So as we approach our virtual celebration of Rosh Hashanah and mark the beginning of the High Holy Days, how would you describe this moment for our community? What are some of the ideas that you've been reflecting on, especially at this holy time?
Well, thanks for asking, and it's lovely to be with you again. I wrote a ritual at Passover where I talked about connecting the moment of Passover actually to the moment of Rosh Hashanah, some rituals that we do at the Seder table to a ritual that we do as a community by the water where we toss out our bread. It's this medieval ritual. We're not sure its exact origins, but we toss out pieces of bread and we say, this thing I'm not going to do next year. This thing I'm not going to do next year. And I wrote this ritual saying, let's crack our matzah at Passover and think of all the issues of our society that we want to reassess again at Rosh Hashanah and toss out. And I said, because we'll be in better times then. And when we're in better times, we don't want to forget the brokenness that we've seen. Well, we're not in better times. So it's really interesting to think sort of how do you do this spiritual marathon from a spiritual sprint of kind of how do I deal, but now it's a longer, deeper process. And Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are sort of another way station on that journey that give us an opportunity to say, okay, Rosh Hashanah says there's redemption, there's renewal. Yom Kippur says change us, change our hearts, and we will make change, or we will make change, and then we know our hearts will come and follow. So I'm thinking a lot about what does renewal look like while things are still really difficult, and what does redemption look like? How do we get closer to it while things are in this kind of ongoing state?
Sure. For those in our community who might not be familiar with it, our High Holy Days began as a tradition many decades ago under the leadership of Rabbi Harold White, who passed away just 5 years ago this past month. Can you talk about what it means to reimagine the High Holy Day celebrations at Georgetown in this moment as a virtual experience?
Yeah, it's a great question. He comes to mind a lot these days, thinking about all of the ways that Rabbi White, of blessed memory, innovated with the tradition in mind. I think a lot about going back to the future right now. The movie Back to the Future from the 80s. But we are people who, in the past, have always had to reimagine and re-envision ourselves. Right, over and over and over again to survive, and not only survive, to thrive. It's sort of our, it's one of our signature strengths as a people, to re-envision ourselves. It's like a superpower. And over time, we've been, as a very much a diasporic community, right, throughout much of our history, we've developed ways of staying connected spiritually, even when we are physically distant. All kinds of different technologies that we use to do that. And so now it's sort of similar. We've just got this new technology, which is the internet. And we're finding, for me, it's an interesting parallel. So for the High Holy Days this year, we're taking it online. We're going to be doing some pieces pre-recorded and some live, and a hybrid of different activities to kind of stay connected through the ether. And it feels to me like an interesting spiritual parallel. Right, this like invisible web of connection that we're still going to create, and we're used to this because, again, as being so far flung, we know we always are reading the same text together. We're in different places, but our texts and our hearts and our thoughts are together. So we're going to try to make it work online. We're geared up and ready to go.
I think some folks might be surprised if they walked into Gaston Hall on the High Holy Days just to see how big a group you bring together for the celebration.
Yeah, we fill Gaston regularly. It's quite remarkable to me. I still, every time I walk in and look up and go, wow. And I think that just speaks to the sort of the enduring connection people feel to Georgetown and to one another, and now to that physical and spiritual space that Georgetown has created. It's actually quite spectacular.
Well, we're grateful to you to recreate and reimagine that space this week as we begin this week's celebrations. Now, one of our recent weekday conversations, I spoke with Bob Lieber, now Professor Emeritus, about some of the work that has been made possible through our Center for Jewish Civilization. Can you talk about the opportunities and resources for our students to engage Jewish history, culture, and identity through our chaplaincy, but also through our academic programs?
Happily. And this is a great reminder. I want to say as publicly as I can, Mazel Tov to Bob Lieber, to Professor Lieber on your retirement. I didn't get to do it personally, so I get to do it publicly. Yeah, the Center for Jewish Civilization is an amazing piece of the overall climate of Jewish life on campus. And in fact, on Yom Kippur, I'm not sure you know this, but we're featuring 8 or 10 CJC professors who are going to speak. I say 8 or 10 because some of them are going to get their videos to me, from within their area of expertise on any theme related to the High Holy Days or Jewish history or Jewish life. So the sheer diversity of the offerings that come out of the CJC are quite remarkable, and we're going to be featuring them all Yom Kippur afternoon. So actually, people can tune in to our Facebook channel and every half hour hear another incredible professor on their area of expertise around Jewish life. So we're partners, we're pieces in the puzzle, we support each other's work, we send each other's way. I teach there. And I see my role in connection with the CJC as both rounding out their offerings, they're already robust offerings, but adding the ingredient of a Jewish religious perspective, or I should say teaching on Judaism as a religion, right? Adding that, and also supporting the students. Sometimes I act as a thesis advisor. Sometimes I help them take something that they've learned in class and digest it and understand what it might mean for them personally, their growth or their vocation. Sometimes we organize forums around issues that students raise, that they bring forward from class and say, hey, Rabbi, can we have a communal discussion on that? So we're really complementary, partners in this work.
Sure, thank you. Now, last December in 2019, you, along with our Vice President for Mission and Ministry, Father Mark Bosco, and Imam Yahya Hendi, the Director for our Muslim faith community here at Georgetown, you all had an opportunity to visit Jerusalem as part of an immersion experience. Can you talk about what this experience was like for the group of you to be together in Jerusalem?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put into words. I'm good with superlatives because I have big feelings, but this was really nothing less than profound. I mean, there's no other word for it. And I return to the experience often, different parts, seeing it through different parts of the prism, different lights come, different colors come forward of what was so amazing. But I think the most profound piece was, I've walked those paths many, many times, particularly on the Israeli side of the Green Line. And then I also, this time, got to walk the paths on the Palestinian side of the Green Line, which was new and remarkable for me. But I've never, at this trip, I got to walk those paths in someone else's shoes. And, it's a profoundly different experience. And to be able to, walk the Stations of the Cross with Father Bosco and get a whole new appreciation of Christianity and of what this place means for him and for Christians. I understood it intellectually, but until you're with someone, you really can't grasp it. And to be in Imam's home, or to see the same, to be at the Dome of the Rock with Imam, and to have him with me at the Western Wall, it changes you. It changes the way you see the place, and it's changed me. And we're bringing that awareness back to our students, I think, all the time in everything we do. I hope we can just continue to go and take students with us next time.
Absolutely.
With
I can't thank you enough for taking this time to be with us this morning and to engage in this conversation, and for all that you do for our university community. In closing, are there any last words you'd like to share with the members of our community at the start of this new semester, this week of the High Holy Days?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. You know, it's sort of back to this idea of the marathon. I'm thinking a lot these days about the teaching that Moses goes up and gets the first set of 10 commandments, and then he sees the people sinning and he cracks them and breaks them, right? First draft is scrapped. It's got to go back and get a second. Well, our tradition teaches that we put both the broken tablets and the whole tablets in the Ark of the Covenant and carry that Ark of the Covenant in the center of our people wherever we go, and hold it high as a symbol of hope. And I'm thinking a lot these days about how we carry in our lives brokenness and beauty, pain and wholeness. And I'm thinking a lot about, where does redemption and renewal come from? And for me, very personally, I don't think it's in the human capacity to transform our pain into joy, or to make our suffering somehow a happy thing. But I do think it is within our power to for ourselves to be transformed in the wake of personal suffering or of societal brokenness, to change ourselves and our societies. And that's a powerful place of redemption. For me, that's the redemption that I know. So I'm thinking a lot about this time and how we will go from this brokenness that we are seeing in ways arresting and undeniable in ourselves and our community. But I believe it's in our reach to find transformation in the face of all that. And I look forward to see what that looks like in the coming year.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish to express our sincere appreciation to Rabbi Rachel Gartner for sharing her insights with us today, for her leadership in bringing our community together around the High Holy Days this year in this virtual environment. And I look forward to being with all of you again soon. Take care of yourselves and take care of everyone around you, for every Hoya, everywhere.